I didn't shout, I didn't slam a door, I didn't even defend myself. My sister just looked at me across the table, calm, steady, almost proud of how reasonable she sounded, and said, "If you can't support us without strings, you can leave." The room went quiet in that way that isn't peaceful. It was the kind of quiet that feels like a decision being made without you. My mom stared down at her plate like the pattern in the ceramic suddenly required intense focus. My stepdad adjusted his napkin and didn't look up. And my sister's fiancé wore this half smile like he'd been waiting for someone to finally put me in my place. So I stood up, I picked up my purse, I said, "Okay," and I walked out, no arguing, no defending myself, no begging for anyone to understand me. I got into my car and sat there with my hands on the steering wheel, not crying, not shaking, just empty. Like my body finally accepted something my mind had been refusing to name for years. 7 days later, my phone started ringing like something had caught fire. It was her name over and over, the screen lighting up, the vibration crawling across my countertop. I let it ring, not out of spite, out of fatigue. I was so tired of being the emergency contact for problems I didn't create. When I finally answered, she didn't even say hello. "What is this?" she gasped. Her voice sounded thin, breathless, like she'd run upstairs. "Why is there a notice to vacate on my door? Why does it have a date on it? Why does it look legal?" I leaned back against my kitchen counter and stared at the steam rising from the mug I hadn't touched. I could hear someone in the background, Derek, her fiancé, pacing and swearing under his breath. I could also hear my mom, not quite on the phone, but close enough that I knew she was hovering, feeding lines, trying to steer the narrative. "Taryn," I said calmly, "the arrangement ended." "What arrangement?" she shot back like the word itself offended her. "We live here." I didn't answer right away. I let the silence sit there long enough to make it uncomfortable because for once I wasn't going to rush in and fix the discomfort for everyone else. "The arrangement where I let you stay in my condo temporarily," I said, my voice steady. "That ended." "You didn't warn us," she snapped. Almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was revealing. Warn them, the way they warned me when they decided I should finance their wedding, the way they warned me before they turned my inheritance into a group project. "You warned me," I said quietly. "At dinner, you told me if I couldn't support you the way you wanted, I could leave, so I left." Her breathing changed. The confidence drained out of her voice and panic rushed in to fill the gap. "Mom said you were just emotional," she blurted. "She said you'd calm down, she said you'd get over it." There it was, the whole plan. They thought my boundary was a mood swing. They thought time would shame me back into compliance. "There's no mistake," I said, "and I'm not emotional, I'm done." She started talking fast, bargaining in real time like a person trying to talk down a storm. Okay, what if we pay you something? What if we make a plan? You can't do this to us." Derek's parents already told everyone we're settled. "We've been telling people it's our place. We've made improvements." "Utilities," I said. "You covered utilities sometimes, that's not ownership." Her voice sharpened like she was reaching for the old weapon that always worked. "You're being controlling," she hissed. "You're always like this, you always have to be the one in charge." And the thing is, that accusation used to slice me open. It used to send me into a spiral of explaining myself, softening my tone, offering compromises I didn't want just to prove I wasn't the monster they painted. But something had changed in that week of silence. I didn't feel the need to prove anything. "I'm not controlling," I said. "I'm enforcing a boundary." "You're toxic," she spat. "This is toxic." I looked out my window at the quiet street and felt something inside me settle like a heavy object finally set down. "Toxic people don't keep paying for the person insulting them," I said slowly, clearly. "You wanted to call me toxic, fine, now you get the version of me that doesn't rescue you." She went quiet, not because she suddenly understood morality, because she suddenly understood consequences. I ended the call without drama. I didn't hang up mid-sentence. I just said, "The timeline is on the notice," and I set my phone down, and I swear the air in my apartment felt lighter. My name is Camilla. I'm 36 and I work at a hospital as a radiology technologist. Most days I'm in a windowless room with the steady hum of machines and the soft, anxious questions of strangers. "Is it bad? Are you seeing something? Should I be worried?" I'm good at staying calm. I'm good at sounding gentle when people are scared. I'm good at making other people feel like everything is under control. I learned that at home. My parents divorced when I was 12. My mom remarried when I was 15. Her new husband came with his own daughter, Taryn, 2 years younger than me, loud in the way I wasn't, needy in the way I wasn't allowed to be. Everyone in the house quickly fell into roles like it was a script we'd been practicing since birth. My mom became the peacemaker, the smoother, the woman who believed that if she managed everyone's feelings carefully enough, nothing would explode. My stepdad became practical. He didn't yell, he didn't insult. He just spoke like his opinions were facts, like feelings were inconvenient data points to be dismissed. Taryn became fragile and special all at once. She didn't have to say the words out loud. The house rearranged itself around her moods. And I became the capable one. If someone needed a ride, it was me. If there was paperwork, it was me. If someone forgot a deadline, it was me who could fix it. Not because anyone praised me for it, but because nobody questioned it. Because I didn't complain, because I learned early that complaining made adults tired and tired adults turn mean, so I got good at swallowing discomfort without making a sound. Years later, when I built my own life, my own apartment, my own bills, my own exhausting hospital shifts, I thought distance would protect me. I thought independence meant I'd de-escape the family dynamic. Then my great Aunt Marable died. Aunt Marable wasn't wealthy, but she was careful. She had one real asset, a modest 2-bedroom condo in a quiet complex, paid off, clean, stable. When she left it to me, I didn't feel excited. I felt trusted, like someone had handed me something solid and said, "Here, build peace with this." I planned to rent it out properly, use the income to finally breathe, pay down debt, stop living like one missed paycheck would ruin me. Then Taryn's life fell apart. Not from illness, not from tragedy, from choices. Her fiancé, Derek, quit his job to start something. that something never started. They got behind on rent, behind on bills, behind on everything that requires consistency and humility. They started couch hopping and spinning it like an adventure, like they were above normal adult responsibility. My mom called me with that voice, soft, careful, preloaded with guilt. "Camilla," she said, "Taran just needs somewhere to land, just for a little while. You have that condo sitting empty." I said no at first. I said, "I'm sorry, I can't. I'm going to rent it out." There was a pause, then my mom exhaled like I'd disappointed her personally. "It would mean so much," she said. "You're the only one who can help. The only one who can, not the only one responsible, not the only one who should, just the only one who's stable enough to be exploited without immediate collapse." I told myself it would be temporary. 6 months, I said, cover utilities, no parties, keep it clean. We'll write something up later. Later never comes when people are benefiting from now. The first few weeks were fine. Thank you texts, smiley faces, photos of them cooking dinner like they were playing house. I let myself believe it would stay that way. Then the little requests started. The dishwasher made a noise, the blinds fell, the faucet dripped. Normal homeowner stuff, except they weren't homeowners. And every time my mom would say, "Just help this once, honey, they're stressed." So I paid. I called repair people. I handled it because it was easier than conflict. Then the request shifted. "Can you send money for groceries? It's been a tight month." "What if you replace the couch? This one is depressing." "We need a nicer table. We can't host people like this." Host people in my condo with my aunt's furniture still partially in storage. I tried to talk about the timeline gently. Taran laughed. "Camilla, relax. You're acting like a landlord." And my mom chimed in like backup vocals. "Don't make it weird. She's sensitive right now." Every time I tried to set a boundary, it got framed as cruelty, and I kept swallowing it because swallowing it was my oldest skill. Until the day I stopped by unannounced. I had a box of Marable's books stored in the second bedroom. I wanted to pick them up. I was tired after a shift. I wasn't thinking strategically. I just drove over, unlocked the door, and walked in. Taran came around the corner in leggings, holding a smoothie like she was filming a lifestyle video in her head. She stared at me like I'd trespassed. "Text before you come," she said. "It's disrespectful to just show up." I blinked. "My things are still here." She shrugged, annoyed. "Yeah, but we live here now. We live here now, not staying here, not grateful now." The sentence was so casual it was almost impressive, like she'd said it out loud enough times to herself that it became truth. That night I sat in my car in the condo parking lot and stared at the building like it was a stranger's house. And I realized something that made me cold all over. They weren't planning to leave. They were planning to outweight my memory. They were planning to normalize the idea that this place belonged to them because they occupied it, because they wanted it, because they'd already told people it was theirs. Then came the dinner. My mom invited me over. "Just family," she said. The minute I walked in, I knew it wasn't just family. Extra chairs, wine already poured, Derek's parents sitting there smiling too hard like they'd prepared for negotiation. We ate, we did small talk. They complimented my job, my stability, my good head on my shoulders, the way people compliment you when they're about to make you pay for being responsible. Then Derek's mom leaned forward and said, "We're so proud of Taran. She deserves a fresh start, a real home, a real future." Taran squeezed Derek's hand like she was about to receive an award, and then she looked right at me and said, "We've been thinking instead of renting it out, you could just sign the condo over. It would solve everything." For a second, I genuinely thought I misheard. "Sign it over," I repeated, slow. Taran nodded like it was obvious. "You don't even use it, and we've basically made it livable. It's kind of ours at this point." Derek chimed in with a grin that felt slick. "Think of it like investing in family. You'll be fine. You always land on your feet." Always land on your feet. Translation, you can absorb the damage, so you should. I looked at my mom, waiting, begging without words for her to say something, to laugh and shut it down, to say that's inappropriate. My mom stared at her wine. My stepdad cleared his throat and said, "Camilla, being practical now will prevent headaches later." Headaches, like my inheritance was an inconvenience. Like their entitlement was a scheduling conflict. I felt something inside me snap, not loudly, not dramatically, more like a rope finally fraying after years of strain. "I'm not signing anything over," I said. Taran's smile tight. "Wow, okay, so you're just going to be selfish." "No," I said, "I'm going to be responsible." She leaned back, crossed her arms, and delivered the label like a verdict. "You're toxic," she said. "You always have to control everything." Nobody corrected her. Nobody defended me, and in that moment, it wasn't even about the condo anymore. It was about the fact that they had rehearsed this. They had arranged this dinner. They had invited an audience. They had built a narrative where I was either the hero who funded their life or the villain who ruined it. I stood up, picked up my purse, said okay, and I left. The next week was quiet. No calls, no texts, no apologies. Just the kind of silence that exists when people assume you'll come back and do what you always do. Instead, I opened a notebook and wrote down numbers, every expense I'd covered, every repair, every HOA due, every time my bank account had been treated like a family resource. Then I called a lawyer. I didn't do it dramatically. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't post about it. I didn't threaten. I just asked, "What are the legal steps to reclaim my property?" He explained it like it was a checklist. Notice, service, timelines, court if needed. "Don't change locks," he said. "Don't shut off utilities. Don't harass them. Do it by the book. Let the paperwork be the bad guy." That sentence felt like relief because I didn't want to fight them. I wanted to stop being trapped in the role they assigned me, so I followed the process. Exactly, quietly. And when the notice was served, I went back to work and scanned patients like my life wasn't being discussed like gossip in someone else's kitchen. 7 days later, my phone started ringing nonstop. And when Taran panicked into my ear asking why this was happening, why I was doing this, I realized she truly believed something I'd never said out loud but had taught them with my behavior for years, that I would always back down, that I would always prioritize peace over dignity. That I would always confuse love with compliance. 2 days after the phone call, they showed up at my apartment. The knock wasn't friendly, it was corrective. I looked through the peephole and saw them lined up like a delegation, Taryn in front, Derek beside her, my mom behind them with glossy eyes, my stepdad slightly off to the side like he didn't want to be seen. I opened the door and stayed in the doorway. Taryn started immediately. "You humiliated us," she said. "Do you have any idea how this looks?" I looked at her face and felt a strange calm, the kind of calm you feel when you finally stop negotiating with someone's fantasy. "You told me to leave," I said, "so I did. That's not what I meant," she snapped. "I was upset. You know how you are, you take everything literally." My mom stepped forward, reaching for my arm like she could physically pull me back into the old role. "Honey, she didn't mean it like that," she said. "We can talk this through. We're family." I held my hands at my sides and took one small step back, not harsh, just clear. "Was I family at that dinner?" I asked. My mom's mouth opened, closed, her eyes flicked away. My stepdad sighed and said, "Camilla, be practical. You're doing fine. You don't even need that condo. They're starting out." There it was again, the family rule spoken like law. If you can carry it, you must. I looked at him and felt something settle, final, and unmovable. "This isn't about need," I said. "It's about ownership and respect." Derek muttered, unreal, like I'd committed a crime by not surrendering. Taryn's face twisted. "So you're punishing us now?" I shook my head. "No, I'm opting out." She stared at me like she was trying to find the right lever, the right phrase, the right insult to make me fold, and then like she always did when she was losing control, she reached for the label. "You're toxic," she said again, louder this time, as if volume could make it true. I didn't flinch. "Toxic people," I said slowly, "don't let someone live in their property for free and then get called toxic for saying no to giving it away." The words came out calm, not angry, not triumphant, just factual. The air shifted, my mom's eyes filled. My stepdad looked down at his shoes, Derek's jaw tightened like he'd run out of moves. Taryn's voice dropped into something smaller. "Where are we supposed to go?" I met her eyes and felt no pleasure in her panic, just clarity. "That's a question you should have asked before you decided I didn't deserve basic respect," I said. She tried apologizing, then fast, messy, full of holes. "I didn't mean it like that. I was stressed. We've been under pressure. You know I love you," then blaming. "You blindsided us. You did this behind our backs," then bargaining again. "What if we pay rent now? What if we sign a lease? What if we give you money every month?" It wasn't remorse. It was a scramble for access. "I'm following the notice timeline," I said. "Nothing more, nothing less." My mom started crying quietly, not sobbing, just that restrained crying that says, "Please save me from discomfort." For once I didn't. "This isn't cruelty," I said. "This is a boundary." They left without closure, no hugs, no resolution, just the sound of their footsteps in the hallway fading like the end of a performance. The weeks that followed were quieter than I expected. They tried a few texts, some angry, some sugary, then stopped when they realized I wouldn't debate. I wouldn't relitigate the dinner. I wouldn't accept a new story where I was the aggressor. On the final day, I drove to the condo but didn't go inside. I parked across the lot and watched them carry boxes out. Taryn avoided looking toward my car like eye contact would make it real. Derek slammed the trunk too hard. My mom moved slowly, like the weight of what she allowed was finally pressing down. When they were done, Taryn walked over and placed the keys on my hood. Her hand lingered there for a second like she wanted to say something else, something honest, something that might have mattered, but she didn't. She turned and got into the car. They drove away without looking back. I sat there for a long moment, staring at the keys like they belonged to someone else's life, and I realized I didn't feel triumphant. I felt free. Later, I walked into the condo alone. The space was quiet, but not empty, not sad, just quiet in a way that felt like it was finally mine again. I noticed the scuffs on the wall, the cabinet hinge that needed tightening, the faint stain on the carpet where something had spilled and dried without being cleaned properly. Normal wear, normal life. I fixed what needed fixing, painted, replaced the hinge, deep cleaned until the place smelled like soap and fresh air instead of someone else's entitlement. Then I rented it out the right way. Lease deposit, rules in writing, no vague promises, no family loopholes big enough to drive exploitation through. The new tenant was a nurse who paid on time and thanked me twice for being responsive when the smoke detector chirped. She didn't act like I owed her because I was stable. She acted like it was a normal adult agreement, and that's when I understood something that embarrassed me to admit. I had been starving for normal. My family didn't reach out after that. Not with apologies, not with accountability, not with a new understanding of respect, just silence. But the silence felt different now. It wasn't me holding my breath, waiting for the next demand. It was me exhaling, finally able to hear my own life again. For a while, I replayed that word toxic in my head the way you replay a song you hate but can't stop hearing. I wondered if I'd been too firm, too cold, too willing to let them struggle. Then I remembered what that dinner actually was, a setup, an audience, a plan to take something from me and shame me if I resisted, and I realized the truth is simple. Even if it's not pretty, when people benefit from your lack of boundaries, your boundaries will feel like betrayal, so they'll call you names that sound like moral judgments: selfish, heartless, toxic, controlling, not because you became a villain, because you stopped being convenient. I didn't destroy my family. I stepped out of a role that was slowly destroying me. Life is quieter now, not empty, honest. And the peace that comes with that, real peace, the kind that doesn't require me to disappear, is worth more than any approval I ever chased at that table.